The government is embarking on an ambitious rural economic program to establish 80,000 village cooperatives in all parts of the country. President Prabowo Subianto is scheduled to inaugurate their operation in July this year to coincide with the commemoration of the National Cooperative Day.
Indonesia is targeting to launch the operation of 80,000 village cooperatives in July this year as part of the government's ambitious program to empower the regional economy. The cooperatives, to be named Red and White Co-ops, will provide one-stop facilities to provide savings and loans, convenience stores, distribution of fertilizers, seeds, and pesticides, cooking gas (LPG), village pharmacies, and village clinics. Coordinating Minister for Food Affairs Zulkifli Hasan said recently that the operation of the 80,000 cooperatives will come from the establishment of new entities and the integration of existing rural cooperatives into the Red and White Cooperative Program. Minister Zulhas, as he was popularly called, said that the 80,000 cooperatives would be officially launched in July 12 to coincide with Indonesia's Cooperative Day. He hoped that all the cooperatives would be fully operated in October this year. Meanwhile, President Prabowo Subianto said that the establishment of the Red and White cooperatives is designed to strengthen local economies and enhance food security by providing financial access and distribution hubs to farmers. The Red and White cooperatives is expected to create new production and supply chains, ensuring affordable food prices while improving farmers' and fishermen's purchasing power. President Prabowo said in his speech during the shipment of the country's first corn export at Hari Hadi Sumantri Air Base in Bengkayang, West Kalimantan on June the 5th. The establishment and development of the Red and White Cooperative is also part of the implementation of the constitutional mandate, where cooperatives are also the main pillars in national economic development. So far, cooperatives are considered the pillars of the economy, but in daily practice, they do not receive serious attention. Minister of Cooperatives Budi Ari Setiadi said that through the Red and White Cooperative, the village community will get easy access to strategic commodities such as subsidized fertilizer, subsidized LPG, cheap basic necessities, and other basic needs that have often been controlled by middlemen. The Red and White Cooperative will also be a concrete solution provided by small businesses and people in villages access the cheap and easy financing so that they can avoid loan sharks who often kill people's businesses. However, according to a survey conducted by the Center of Economic and Law Studies, or CELIOS, 65% of respondents identified potential corruption in the governance of the cooperatives. CELIOS Director of Public Policy, Media Wahyudi Askar, said recently that the potential for corruption is high as the budget for the White and Red cooperatives is very large, but is not accompanied by an adequate monitoring system and strong transparency mechanism. The government should take the survey on the potential corruption and the operation of the cooperatives as a reminder so that the mistakes on the operation of village cooperatives under President Suharto can be avoided so that their presence will truly bring prosperity to rural communities.
The government is embarking on an ambitious plan to establish as many as 80,000 villages cooperatives to empower the rural economy. The cooperatives would be inaugurated during the commemoration of Indonesia's Cooperative Day on July the 12th. So today we will have a discussion with Bapak Ahmad Mikail Zaini, Chief Economist at Sucor Sekuritas, and we will talk to him about opportunities and the challenges from the government's ambitious cooperative development program. Hello, Pak Ahmad, how are you?
Hello, how are you? Morning.
Pak Ahmad, the government is embarking on an ambitious plan to establish as many as 80,000 villages cooperatives as part of its program to empower the rural economy. Do you think that this establishment of such a large number of cooperatives, we're talking about 80,000 units here, is a strategic enough for rural development?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think our cooperative sector need a big push from the government, and this is the big push. Yeah, I think the idea is very good to accelerate the urbanization's development in Indonesia. Now, about 60% of our populations living in cities, and then maybe with this policy, I think we can accelerate further the urbanization rate, and maybe for the next 10 years or 20 years, 80 to 90% of our populations will living in the cities if the rural area can develop much faster. And this red and white cooperative will be a strategic policy that can be used by the government to accelerate the rural area economic growth. The idea is very good, yeah, but of course, this is not lack with the many risks. Yeah, the government should maintain the risk if the government want to bolster the government spending on these cooperative sectors. Yeah, merit system should be developed, and then check and balance should be there. The strengthening the supervisions from KPK and then from OJK, for instance, because this will involve the banking sector to boost the capitalizations of the red and white cooperatives. Yeah, the idea is very good, in my opinion, yeah, to accelerate the economic growth, Indonesian economic growth.
All right, so the idea itself is a good ideas with good intention, building these 80,000 villages cooperatives with that will be inaugurated during the commemoration on July 12th, the commemoration of Cooperatives Day. And this is just about 6 months since the initial initiatives was unveiled. It seems that, you know, to some people, they say that criticizing that this establishment is too hasty and perhaps not even based on a comprehensive feasibility study yet. It's too rushed. What do you think about this assumption?
Yeah, I share the same idea. Yeah, there is a risk, like I said before, in this development of red and white cooperative. That's why the government should deliver with a good process. The government should supervise this policy really careful, not to rush to develop 80,000 cooperative in just, let's say, 1 year. Maybe the government can develop it for the next 5 years, yeah, until it reach 80,000 cooperative. I think, and then the government should let the market mechanism to flourish in this cooperative red and white strategy. Without the market mechanism, I don't think it will be sustainable for the red and white cooperative to develop further for the next 5 to 10 years. So that's why the government should looking at the process. The process should be based on the market mechanism, because this will involve the banking system, and then the money, the budget is quite big. It's about 250 trillion rupiah, and it will involve about 80% banks money. And then, as we know, our banking sector is our backbone for the economy. If there is some problem with the banking sector, let's say the non-performing loan increase because this policy, then it will be bad for our macroeconomic stability. That is why I believe the idea is good, but once again, the government should really careful to develop this huge number of cooperative. It should be done step by step, and then it should be using market mechanism to do it.
Step by step and slowly and surely. Now, one of the key components of whether or not this cooperatives initiative will be in fact successful is, of course, the human resources. We need capable human resources to be the key of the success of these so-called red and white cooperatives. How should the government then provide the human resources to manage such cooperatives in a short time? How will the government find the capable human resources for all of these cooperatives in such a short time?
Yeah, I think it is impossible, yeah, to develop in just 1 or 2 years 80,000 cooperative in separated rural area. I believe that's why the government should really careful to put a good person in the good place. The government should addressing this issue, yeah, and then maybe the government can collaborate with the banks, with many institutions related to this to create a good human capital running the cooperative, because cooperative is also different institutions than private entities like firms or public listed companies, etc. Yeah, the CFI, for instance, they are quite different. So the government should address this issue, build special institutions which can develop the human capital there before they can work in the ones of the cooperative, red and white cooperative. Yeah. Because without the human capital capabilities, I think it will be very difficult, yeah, to develop this red and white cooperative into the next stage. Because we don't want this red and white cooperative just to be a cooperative for the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years. We want to upgrade this cooperative, let's say, into in the next level into the huge cooperations, and then maybe they can integrate with the huge listed companies or big corporations in Indonesia. Yeah, that's why the human capital is a critical point here. I think it cannot be done in just overnight. I think the government should address this issue. Yeah.
Ahmad, the initial idea and perhaps the motivation of having these red and white cooperatives is good. That is to build our country from the bottom up. But during, President Suharto's era, many village cooperatives were, in fact, they had to shut down due to corruption happening within. What should then our government do this time to do it differently and make sure that it doesn't become the source of corruption to happen within the cooperatives?
Yeah, there are, I think, three strategies that should be done by the government. First is to like I said before, create a capable human capital to running this cooperative. The government should build an institutions to train the people who want to run this red and white cooperative, because this will using public money, this will using the banking loan. Then it should be very done in the good governance level. Yeah, the good governance level should be there. And the second one, the government should strengthen the supervisions. Yeah. Yeah, the government can collaborate with OJK, of course, because OJK is a supervision body for the banking system, because this will using the bank's money. And then maybe the government can strengthen the role of the KPK to check the money's flow, and then the using of this money through the red and white cooperative. And the third one, I think the government should thinking about how to integrate big corporations to this red and white cooperative. Without collaborations with the big industry, I think the scale will not be there. The cooperative, red and white cooperative, should be upgraded, because this is the homework for many cooperative around the world. They cannot improve their economic of scale, because there is a lack between cooperative business model and then big corporations business model. There should be a vertical integrations between red and white cooperative and then big corporations in Indonesia. As long as there is a supply chain improvement between this cooperative and then big corporations, I think red and white cooperative can be developed much further for the next 5 to 10 years.
Great idea right there. And last question here. The plan is for these village cooperatives to provide a one-stop service for lending as well as savings, convenience store, distribution of fertilizers, cooking gas, LPG, village pharmacies, as well as village clinics. There are a lot in plan for the village cooperatives. Now, in your opinion, what services do people need the most?
Yeah, because we're dealing with the rural area, the most important facilities that should be provided by this red and white cooperative is the agriculture infrastructures, because about 40% of our labor working in the farm as a farmers and as a fisherman. So we need to supply or we need to support these farmers and the fishermen to develop the business, yeah, for particularly for warehousing, for instance, for the agriculture product. If there is if the farmers harvest their product, then they should place their food productions in the warehousing, big warehousing, because only 40%, for instance, rice warehousing is controlled by the government and mostly by the private. So I think this is the role of this red and white cooperative. They have to support farmers and fishermen in Indonesia. And then I think we should design more carefully the business model of this red and white cooperative, because every rural area has a unique characteristic. So this cooperative red and white should meet that unique characteristic. Otherwise, if the government using the same model and then implement it in the many area without addressing the unique characteristic of this rural area, this will create a problem, yeah, because that's not what many consumer need. So I think, like I said before, this policy should be done step by step, and more really careful to supervise this corporate red and white cooperative policy.
Certainly a big goal coming from our government with its own challenges, of course, and we'll see how it's going to go. Thank you so much, Bapak Ahmad Mikail Zaini, Chief Economist at Sucor Sekuritas, for your insights, and we'll talk again next time on Economic Outlook. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.